Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
And good evening, and welcome to the S-4 Bunker, coming to you live here in Cape Horn in the smoky as hell and muddy river on opening season.
You're supposed to wait for me to point to you because all they heard was "dend." They didn't hear.
I'm sorry. Shit, yeah, you know what? Now that I can actually hear the music, I just kind of jumped the gun and Cole didn't point at me. Oh, well, welcome to S-4 Bunker, coming to you live here in the Cascade Mountains that are, well, pretty much on fire. But,
This bitch is on fire.
We're here. What's that one? We don't need no, let the motherfucker burn. Burn, mother. No, I don't want it to burn.
Wow,
I don't want to move.
But
what?
The bakery's got to be doing pretty good.
No, the ice cream shop's doing
No,
great.
come on. It's called the sourdough fire.
Oh, right. What kind of like coronavirus? Corona made it killing. Good.
What's the other one called? Blue Lake?
Oh, yeah.
Blue Lake really doesn't have their finger in the game. So
No, the blue pale ale.
The little blue pill?
No, oh, God, no. Don't watch that movie. You'll see me in a diaper. Yeah, no, blue pale ale.
Oh, yes.
Blue moon pale.
Actually,
But yeah, so I've been busy. I was pushing masks out from New Halem down to Birdsview. That's about, what, a 30-mile span, Cole? Roughly?
40?
Yeah, 40 miles. Getting masks.
About 40, 45.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting, and I'm telling you, I felt it in New Halem. Oh my God. Yeah, I couldn't breathe for shit in New Halem.
Well, I only got as far as Marble Mount on Monday, and that was as far as I.
No, Marble Mount was actually considered moderate.
Well,
So on the color scale of air quality, you're looking, and I walked out of the house this morning and I smelled smoke. And we are considered green, which is healthy air.
Yep.
So it goes, I want to say green, yellow, orange, and then there's red, but I haven't seen red on the map at all. It goes straight from orange to purple, which purple is unhealthy. Don't go outside.
Yeah.
But New Halem is literally purple. And I couldn't get into the town because they had barricades set up on all the side streets for fire personnel only. And I'm not a tourist. I don't ignore signs and go, oh, there's a store. Let's go walk into the store. No, folks, stay the fuck out. It's really that simple. There's a fire.
there's a reason.
There's not. I mean, I don't know why they didn't shut down the campgrounds. I really don't. Because I went to
They
the...
didn't shut down the campgrounds?
No. Oh my God, Nikki. I went to the... since I couldn't actually get to the store where I wanted to actually drop the masks for the community members, I had to backtrack to the North Cascade Visitor Center, which is a campground. And there's people walking around. Oh, is there bears up here? Oh wow, look. And there's a ranger at a map where the fire, kind of a map that shows where you are here and the fire's here. And mind you, it's nothing but ash falling in the air. It's nothing but heavy smoke. You shouldn't be there. And the ranger, and these people are asking this ranger, as I'm waiting to talk to the ranger about masks. So where's the fire from here? And the ranger's going, well, so you're right here, and it's 5 miles roughly from where we're at now. And I'm just, and I saw this, so there's a calendar of events type thing, and if you stick around till 4 o'clock, we'll have a lecture on bears. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Send these people away. Because in the community group we run, we've actually got complaints in there from some of the personnel up in New Halem that, we need to block the roads better because we actually have tourists coming in and getting in our chow line. That's for the fire people. That's their food.
Are you kidding? Oh my God!
No.
That doesn't shock me any.
They need to not close the roads, but change where the road, like the closures are. Close the chow line up. Leave the road open for Darwin.
Yeah.
Just let them go.
Oh my God! I love the bear. And again, folks, if you're listening to the show, you really do. You're missing out in half the show by not being in the Discord channel because yeah, I love the bear. But now the river. So salmon season for us opens tomorrow, but now. It's gotten worse today. The river's actually turning ashy and muddy looking, and I'm surprised it took this long. So much for and I'm surprised since we're on a red flag warning. As of actually last week we were on red flag warning for a couple of different days. But I'm surprised Sierra Pacific hasn't shut off hiking access like they did last year.
They haven't even closed them off.
Huh?
They haven't even closed them off at all.
I know. And as of tomorrow, we are on a complete burn ban. That starts tomorrow.
I'm surprised it hadn't already gotten to that point, considering how hot.
Well, when I talked to the fire marshal last week in email, and she emailed back and said they weren't planning on going to a full burn ban. That the weather was supposed to. That the weather was supposed to get a little bit cooler, and we were supposed to get. Mother Nature's pissed off, so she went to straight heat. So yeah.
No, she didn't.
I gotta calm the F down because this is not okay, people. Stay off the frickin' roads in the mountains when there's a goddamn fire. Hello.
Mother Nature did
Common
calm down a little
sense.
bit. Because all of our phones last week, like at the beginning of the week, said 99. We haven't hit that yet. We're not going to.
No, I think the highest it was 98 in New Halem.
But that was 3 days straight that Hamilton was supposed to be 99.
God.
Okay.
So, and we haven't hit that yet. We're doing actually pretty
What's
good.
wrong with the forestry department when they're doing that? Sorry for interrupting, Cole. What the hell is wrong? They should have those campgrounds shut down up there.
Well, I'm kind of with Cole. I'm the Darwin Awards.
Well, no, but the forestry department doesn't. Okay, so you got to remember the bureaucracy they have to go through in order to shut down one of those campfires or campgrounds.
Oh my God!
They have to talk.
So many people in jeopardy up there.
No, you're right.
And what the hell is with the the food lines are being used for the people who are fighting the damn fires, not for tourists. Hello. Our people who are on those lines working their ass off to get those fires out, and you have tourists standing in the food line. What the
thing
fuck is wrong with that?
I saw a post about that too.
Uh-huh.
It was one person, like one family that came in to eat.
Well, one family is...
And they were told to.
Huh?
They were told to, and they had to argue with the people serving the food. One of the firemen told them to come eat. He invited them.
No, that's not okay.
That's still not okay. But what do you do?
It kind of is when it's his department supplying the food.
Huh?
When it's his department supplying the food,
No, I just...
we can't tell them what to do with it
Well, no.
in any way, shape, or form. We have no fucking opinion on
They
that.
have a nice
that
tent
is
chow
so
hall.
not cool, man.
Huh?
They have a nice tent chow hall up there.
Probably.
I mean, I drove right by everything. There's a huge fucking tent city where all the firemen are sleeping in.
Yeah, but you have to
Or-
fucking
yeah.
feed them. You have
Oh
to
yeah,
feed them
no,
well
absolutely.
because
They have a budget for that too, though.
while they're up there, they're not eating it all that whole time. They're eating power bars.
Yeah, that
Right.
actually makes sense.
So when
Oh,
they actually get to
for
come
energy.
down to the fucking part, or to the place, you have to feed them really well.
Yeah.
It's just like you guys in the army. Your chow tents are like your mess halls are actually pretty decent because your MREs suck ass.
Oh yeah. But you know what? I want 10 cases of MREs. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but they don't even get those because they can't have them up there.
Why?
You can't, because you can't carry that kind of shit if, like, let's say the fire goes over top of you.
MRE. Sorry, I
Yeah.
totally
Nope.
I
It's
spaced
heavy.
that off. Sorry.
They get heavy quick.
Yeah, way too heavy.
Just like they also don't have it. Like, the only thing they have with a battery is, one, a radio, and two, flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing they're allowed to carry on their person. If the fire is coming after them and they have to duck and hide, they have to toss both out. It's required now. Because one of them still, the battery exploded while he was in his
Oh yeah. That
emergency
makes sense.
tarp.
Crap.
Yeah, that makes sense because those especially the radio batteries are lithium.
Yeah.
You don't want them to fucking blow up on
Those
you.
things
Oh,
blow up
no,
on your own anyway, so. Yeah, lithium is not exactly the world's safest battery.
No.
You know,
No,
option.
no.
It is the world's most viable. So.
But the thing is, with the people like the tourists,
Mm-hmm.
you're never going to stop them as long as the campground's open.
No.
They're going to stay.
Exactly. And as long as there's rangers there to educate them about wildlife and fucking everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's putting people's lives in danger. Oh my god, I am so. That's not.
Well, you don't think it has anything to do with the like in Jaws where, well, we've got to make money. This is tourist season. We've got to keep the campgrounds. Okay.
It's the fact that they have a certain distance that campground has to be away from the fire before they have to shut it down.
Oh.
And that has been determined. The
But I
thing
can
is,
tell
this
you right
one,
now, if the fire shifts and or the wind shifts and the fire goes into New Halem, they'll fucking evacuate you.
yeah.
Campground.
No, you're not screwed because the pathway down here is still open. You've got two pathways almost out of New Halem. And if it shifts, even if it shifts, there's not enough wood there and timber for it to burn that fast.
No, because most of it burned about 3 years ago, 4
Yeah.
years
I
ago.
was just thinking
Longer
3
than
or
that.
4, yeah.
Longer than that because New Halem burned up.
It was like 6.
Yeah, it was 5 or 6. So a lot of that timber and a lot of the fuel did get.
That's nuts.
So if it does
Take it
switch,
out.
it's going to be a slow burner, and they're going to have a lot of time to get everyone out.
Okay, panel questions. We got some questions from Paula. So what are some of the most common reasons why people go missing? So
LSD.
Huh?
LSD.
Well, they're not carrying a
even
locator.
weed. I mean,
Those guys.
you get stoned and you go wandering around the woods, you're gonna get lost pretty easy.
Well, yeah. I think that's a drunk, stoned. Yeah, you're pretty much hosed.
So
This is why I don't go camping.
oh no, camping's awesome. Just know where the hell you are.
Well, no, but
So
like
I have a few points on that to bring up.
I have one. I know the number one reason.
What's the number one reason?
They talk back to their wives.
Well, up here is a good way to go Yeah, bodies go missing up here all the time.
It's mostly husbands.
Bear in mind,
you have to admit, it is a lot of men.
Understand, I didn't say people go missing, their bodies go missing. So there's a few reasons. One is complete and total stupidity on humans' part. They go up in the woods, oh yeah, it's hiking territory up here. Let's go hiking. And they don't prepare. They go by themselves. Always go with a buddy.
Well, they don't also leave. They don't state where they're going.
No. So if you're planning a hike, take a pack for the worst.
Yep.
Right.
All you really need is I don't even pack a tent because I can build a shelter. I don't.
Yeah, but for those that don't, yeah.
Well, right. But I think it's smart for anyone that wants to be in the woods a lot to find somebody that can teach them. Some basic, just basic. You don't have to be Rambo. You don't have to be, a Navy SEAL or just some basic survival techniques.
Check YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube is actually great.
I knew two brothers who, and sadly one's gone now, but they were raised to where you camped, you knew what the hell you were doing, and the people and they would go. They would individually walk into the woods with a Bowie knife. That was it. That was their test. They could survive for 4 days.
I get that.
Now,
but I think that's stupid
but
too.
They would teach others how to properly do it. How to properly go into the woods and go with only a backpack with basic supplies. And if you got lost, they actually taught people. They taught people that they knew. That was a big deal. And that was back in the 90s.
I love her second question. And we'll get to your second question, Paula. But what? But the first one, is I would have to say, and for listeners, we are going to get to the paranormal side. But I think my point here is a lot of your missing people, and even though they say in Missing 401 that they've weeded out and they've taken out the murders and the missing hikers and all the mundane shit, I don't think, honestly, that the rest are always paranormal. I just don't. So I was in search and rescue both on the ground team and the truck team for, I guess, a total of about 4 years off and on. And I'm going to say it's really sad, but some people go missing intentionally. Some people don't want to be found. They're suicidal. They're and that's a sad reality.
Well, there's a famous person that's attached to that presumed sort of situation where Julian Sands, the actor, had been missing for 2 or 3 months, I think, all winter, and they just found him, and he had just taken off, and he'd had some mental health issues, and he'd been depressed, and that's what they haven't said it's a suicide, but they seem to think that that's probably what the case was.
And
He
so
just went off.
And that's why, anytime, especially up here, if I'm looking at a missing person case, personally, not with an agency of any type, I want to clarify that. But the first thing you ask a family member or somebody who knew the person missing is, did they have any mental health issues? What was their life like? Were they depressed? And I hate going that direction, but you have to have those answers. Because that kind of sets the tone of where you're going to look and how you're going to set up the operation for research. With missing kids, I know within the law enforcement community, the first 24 hours is the golden time.
Yeah, it is.
If you don't have at least a sign, especially with an abduction, and because we're going to get to the abduction part too, because I do think there's human trafficking elements within missing people, especially up here. Again, I have no proof, but law enforcement has the same thought that we do have a trafficking link, and I'll explain why. It's really not hard if you're a trafficker to snatch somebody up and get them into Canada undetected, because of the fact that Ross Lake goes right into Canada, and all it has is a little checkpoint, which is it manned all the time? Probably not. So,
our side is.
Huh?
Canadian side is.
It's got a little shed.
And there is an officer there 24/7.
Is there?
At every booth in Canada. We don't have a border area that we don't have manned 24/7. The American side, though,
is passed out.
Because you guys can't keep border patrol officers.
No. I'm still going to argue the point that you can get into fucking Canada pretty easy off Ross Lake.
Well, yeah, but you go through the American part because Canadian guys aren't going to watch that part.
Right.
Because you're not supposed to go there. And there's supposed to be a guard there, but there isn't. Friend.
So with trafficking, understand, because here's some misconceptions about trafficking, and I'll get to your question about the most common misconceptions about missing people and their disappearances in a second. But one of the misconceptions is, well, trafficking only happens in Thailand and Korea and Europe. And no, trafficking happens in the United States in every state.
I can tell you a situation where a family, they had 5 kids. They had 5 kids, 4 girls, 1 boy, and they were in Arizona. They were from a northern state. They had traveled. They were in the process of traveling through Arizona and going east from there. Mm-hmm. And they stopped at a motel, or they stopped at a restaurant, had a family dinner, and then went to their motel that they had prearranged. Unbeknownst to them, the location of that motel was in a high traffic human trafficking area.
Right.
And they were spotted with their girls. It wasn't the boy they wanted the girls. Mm-hmm. And situation to where they had 2 motel rooms, 1 parent in each motel room, and the girls. So they all went swimming. And half of them went back. The parent that was going back to that room was delayed for whatever reason by just a few moments, like maybe 2 minutes at the most. And the girls were followed. The whole family had been watched. And the girls were followed to their motel room. The door had been closed. They didn't have time to put the specific latch across it, but it was locked. And the guys broke the damn doorknob, broke in, and tried to kidnap the girls. Mm-hmm. And as the mother is walking up, the girls are screaming their frickin' heads off, and the men are trying to pick up these girls, one under each arm. And the oldest was in the process of being carried off by one guy, and the 2 younger ones under each arm. And I'm like, how the hell? And the mom was telling me these were big, basically burly guys. I mean, like big guys. Right. And I'm like, and these girls are kicking and screaming and doing everything they can. And the mom is screaming for her husband, who's back with the other kids. And it got really bad really fast. And the husband, carried a gun and went to his vehicle, got the gun, and headed straight up. They were on the 2nd level, and the guys dropped the women once they saw the gun.
Well,
and they took off, and they did manage to report it to the police. They did manage to get a license number. The vehicle, they found out later, was a stolen vehicle, and that the guys that were described were known traffickers, and they could not catch them. The cops in that specific town could not catch them, but they were known traffickers.
Right.
And I'm like, I mean, it was a mind-boggler, and this happened a number of years ago.
Here's some stats, though. And we're all going to touch trafficking briefly because this isn't a trafficking show tonight. It's missing people, so we have a lot of different categories of missing people.
Yep.
But statistically, 45% of adults are male, and 55% are female. So it tells you there's a pretty...
I'm not going to lie. If a trafficker goes missing, I'm not going to really care.
Not the traffickers, the traffic.
Oh.
And when it comes to children versus adults, it's 25% children and 75% adult. It's not solely children that get taken. So why are they being trafficked? Well, it's really not hard. It's an $18 billion a year industry. And a lot of your criminal networks are finding that it's a lot more lucrative to move a person and get paid for it multiple times versus drugs or weapons one time. So let's talk.
Sick.
Huh?
I said, which is really sick.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The mentality of that is very sick.
And human traffickers, to me, are probably the most vile of human. Because, no. And so we're not just talking about sex trafficking, we're talking about labor trafficking as well. Organ trafficking doesn't happen near as much. It's mostly in Mexico. And, you see that in movies sometimes where someone's taken and they wake up in a ice cube full bathtub and, well, they think they're okay, but their kidneys were removed or something. But that shit happens too. And so endangered runaways. And the sad reality is you call the cops about your kid missing and they automatically want to assume they ran away. And they don't take it serious. Like they should. Unless they're an endangered runaway, which means they're under the age, I believe it's of 16. And again, I may be wrong because I'm a little bit rusty. But I'm pretty close on the numbers. But if they're under the age of 16, they can be considered an endangered runaway. And if they've attempted to run away more, but they'll gain their trust. And in doing that, they'll take their time. They're real patient because they know they're going to make their money getting your kid and trafficking them. But they gain their trust, and they can do it in a week. They can do it in a month. They can take up to a year, and then eventually they'll get
still. It gives them that.
Eventually they'll get to the point where they'll ask the kid, "Do you want to meet somewhere?" And the kids got earned their trust by this point that they'll go meet this stranger that they feel connected to, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah,
they'll disappear. But that's grooming. So I was talking about grooming, Nikki. How traffickers will groom a child, and they can take a week. They can take up to a year. They're real patient with the grooming tactics. And the last point I want to bring up with traffickers, if you go to at least in Washington State, if you go to the sex offender registry for Washington State, you'll have your sex offenders level 1 through 3. And level 1 being what they consider the most non-violent, not gonna do it again. And in Skagit County, they don't even list the level 1s unless they're transient, meaning they don't have a house. Level 3s are the most violent, and usually your child porn producers and your child porn sellers, or even if they have child porn, they are an automatic felony and they're an automatic level 3. But along with level 1 through 3, there's another category called kidnapping. Those are the ones I worry about too, because from Whatcom County, for those in Washington State local, from Whatcom County to Pierce County, there are 86 kidnappers, and that number is from a couple years ago. I haven't even looked at the tracking on it. Are we still connected? Nikki,
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm here. Yep.
So, kidnappers on that level, these aren't familial. They aren't. These are stranger abductions. These are abductors that have been caught and are listed on the sex registry under their own category. That are all stranger abduction. They aren't family. They didn't know the person abducted, whether it was an adult or a kid. And there's 86 of them. That's a high number to me.
That's a very high number.
Yeah,
That's a lot, man.
And that's just the ones that were caught. And same with the sex offender registry. Yes, they're registered. That's great. We know who they are. We know where they live, or what community they're in. And that's fine and good. But there's probably twice that number that just ain't been caught yet.
Yeah, which is scary.
Yep, absolutely. And so there's some of your missing people.
I'm going to say for our listeners that are listening live right now, some of what Eric said, well, that internet bull crap happened, you will have missed, friend, because it is going to skip you ahead as much as it can.
Okay.
So, but while we were gone, he kept talking so that the show wasn't just dead air, and that will be available on all your regular podcast areas.
Okay.
Wait, so what were Nikki and I doing the whole time?
Floating off in the cloud? You were floating off in the cloud.
Having a conversation that wasn't on the air, apparently.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we tried.
Yeah, no, and for all of those on the west coast of the United States, just to let you know, fuck Astound Broadband. Also known as Wave.
Yeah. So
tell your soul to the evil Lord Elon, you wouldn't have this problem.
Right. Internet is shocking. But that is one part of our missing problem is trafficking. I would say not a real high number when you're looking at missing people overall. I think the highest number is just the people that went up in the woods or whatever, unprepared, got lost.
I'm about to get 5% less chance of me going missing as of tomorrow.
Huh.
I'm going to get my fingerprints done by the FBI.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why is that?
In order to coach the football team, I have to.
Oh, yeah.
Since I will be in the FBI's database now,
they'll find you.
Apparently, it gives you an extra 5% chance of being found.
Huh. You gonna do a DNA swab too?
No.
No,
they don't get that. Nobody gets.
It's real easy. You just take a cotton swab or a Q-tip actually and run it inside the cheek of your mouth. That's
I barely allowed the doctors to get that 2 years ago. Why would I give it to the FBI?
Anyway, that is so we hit a little bit on sex offenders. We hit a little bit about traffickers. That's a small number that's missing. I would say a higher number that's missing, like I said, is hunters, hikers that really just weren't prepared. They didn't look at a weather forecast. You can't always go by a weather forecast when you're up in the mountains because storms hit quick sometimes, depending on the elevation you're at. And you fall, you get hurt. Your cell phone has no signal. That's why I think a lot of people that are newer should just get the investment and get that individual GPS tracker. I don't think they're that much anymore, are they?
Oh, yeah.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Friend.
2 years ago when I priced them, that I found one that was what $249, $350.
And that's if you want something that is not great.
Mm-hmm.
It went 5 miles. That was
Yeah.
it.
Oh, okay.
Dad for his,
Yeah.
and he buys all Garmin products for that.
Garmin's best.
And
Yes, they are.
his are about $3,000 each.
Yep.
Mm.
That's
So,
right.
but if he has 3 of them, plus his car one, if he enters a location into one of them, it saves in all of them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if, like, let's say he ever did go missing, he fell somewhere, he can put his location in the one that's on him, and the one in the car can tell you where he is.
Perfect.
So, like, it is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to afford that. A hunting trip or anything, like, I'm not even going to go into, like, hiking, but a hunting trip.
Right.
Just for a day, you're already looking at $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And yet, I've been watching these videos on YouTube about these people that climb the 8,000 plus foot or the 8,000 kilometer plus mountains, the Everest, and all of those. I don't know where these people get their money, because most of them seem like they were just like raised in regular homes. And are they sponsored? I mean, you got
some of them are sponsored. I mean, if you're an extreme hiker or you're an extreme sports person, which not all of them are, I get that.
Right.
But no, you have to have higher rating ropes. You have to have higher rating gear rings. You have to have.
Would you guys agree that most of these guys are in really good shape?
Most of them are, yeah.
The serious ones, yes.
And most of them are quite young?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
There's some in their 50s that are doing this. 50s,
Yeah, and there's some guys in their 50s that do this part too.
Mm-hmm.
You do realize that on average, the average guy who has an actual OnlyFans makes $500,000 a year from that.
Right.
Right.
That's his side hustle. Because his actual business is making videos for YouTube of his hikes. That's the thing. Like, half of these guys, they have all those social media sites. Every single one of them makes money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they make big money.
As extreme climbers.
Yeah. Well, there's apparently some gal that she was known as the bikini climber, and whenever she'd get to the top of a summit, she wasn't going up to the big ones, like she wasn't going up Everest or those. She was just sticking around the ones that were. But even then, she got up on one and somewhere over in Asia, and the weather system came through, and she was unprepared. She just hiked up, so it wasn't like she had needed climbing gear or anything else. But boy, in an instant, the weather just changes, even at the lower elevations. Yep.
Okay, so trafficking's covered, pedophiles covered, serial killers. That's always a fun one.
When I talked about that on my YouTube show last week, I got shut down. My internet got shut off. I mean, it wasn't. This was not a fluke. We were talking about a number of different factors. I had a number of people in chat, and the second we started talking about that,
which one?
About serial killers.
Oh,
I got shut down.
Well, that could be a fun one. Serial killers. So, you live in the mountains. It's not hard to dispose of a body. It really ain't. And we have places up here where, people go missing up here all the time. They do find the body a lot of times 2 or 3 years later. I think we've had a couple of cases where they did find the body a couple of years later. And they weren't far from their vehicle. They weren't far from where search and rescue had actually looked. But because they were in a ravine, and again, we were in a snow season, they weren't found when they were, when they could have been. So, serial killers, again, if they're clever, they're not going to get caught for years if they ever do. Green River Killer, what was his name?
Ridgway.
Yeah. Ridgway, he went a good 20, 30 years before he got caught.
Yep.
And I believe he killed knowingly, the body count was like 45 prostitutes.
Something like that.
And I was actually on an evidence search for one of them up here in Skagit County, where we were looking for, I think, 2 teeth, hand bone, and we found women's shoes, women's panties, a woman's watch. But yeah, again, it was an area that had been clear cut, but the body had been there for many years, so I don't know if it was, wooded when he hid the body. But it's. Well, there was another case here a couple of years ago where somebody went up Baker Lake Road and they were hiking on a trail and they just lost track of time, and coming back down the trail it was dark and they could only see in front of their headlamp or flashlight, and they found a pack sitting in the middle of the trail, and they thought that was odd until they went past the pack and seen a guy with an axe coming towards them. We got some weirdos up here. But they ran and screamed, and they got away.
They were fortunate.
Yeah. Now, was the guy really just looking for wood to cut, and they just took it the wrong way? I mean, you never know. But
no. No.
Oh, there's a whole movie built on that. What was the name of it? There was a couple old boys. They looked rednecks out in the country, and these kids thought they were serial killers or like the horror movie kind of killers. And they went out to their property. These guys had a hunting cabin, and the kids just kept offing themselves. And the guys are like, "What are they doing? Why do they keep killing themselves?" So I'll think of the name of that movie eventually. Anyway, so digression.
Serial killers, there's a whole, I've got 11 billion different documents and files to read about profiling, geographical profiling, victimology. It's just fun reading. So what's the percentage of missing people due to serial killers? Again, I would put that as probably lower. Let's see here. So what are some of the misconceptions? I'm thinking of Paula's questions here. What are some of the misconceptions of people missing and the investigations? A lot of the misconceptions, about missing people and their disappearance. Automatically family members are usually blamed. And
Sorry.
could it have been? Possible, but it's usually not hard to rule them out. But that's usually the assumption. The husband or wife did it. Usually the husband. And so
I think we need to go back to the good old days.
What's that?
When it was the butler.
Who up here do you know has a butler?
Me. I have 4 of them. Same thing.
Okay. So you think I know I would blame John. John's who did it.
Really? Without as much time you spent with Kimberly?
She hit somebody with a rock in the head. She has a rock under her bed, you know.
Yeah, and
Her
she'd also
protector.
hide the body.
Yeah. Okay, now you got 2 suspects in. Because would Kimberly really help Hunter hide the body? Probably not.
Yeah, she would.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
She would help any of her brothers.
Okay. If they paid her in candy.
Nope.
No?
Nope. That little girl will do anything for those boys.
Okay.
It's just sad that it's not the other way around.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the next category will be wild animals. Here's the
They don't go missing. They go into the freezer.
well, yeah,
Right on.
I know where they
but
are.
but if you find or if someone goes missing from wild animals, you usually have blood, you usually have a drag mark, you usually have signs that a bear or a cougar or something.
And that's why I have to go kill it, because it was messy.
Yeah.
And that's not allowed.
So I bring that up because, well, a lot of your missing 401 cases, there aren't these signs. The missing 401 cases are, well, Joe walked around the corner and gone.
Yep.
And there would, if it was an animal, there'd be drag marks, there'd be blood, there'd be, unless got carried off in the air. Dragons did it.
And that's not completely true. A moose or an elk would not leave drag marks.
Huh?
A moose or an elk will not leave drag marks.
There'd still be tracks.
Nope.
Okay, explain.
Friend, in our woods, there would not.
No,
There's
because
too many leaves covering the ground.
Yeah.
We have too many different types of maple trees and stuff like that the leaves drop too often.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and not just due to it being fall, but even in the spring and summer, they drop because they die. Because evergreens rule all. They kill off maple trees and shit like that after a certain amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
So there really wouldn't be that many tracks. Half the time, when they go through our woods, you can't find the tracks. But you know where he just walked.
Right.
Friend.
Branches would be cut down, and if you know how to track, you would look for leaves turned
Now,
away.
I know I am kind of reaching here, but
we always reach here.
Let's say it's the beginning of spring.
Mm-hmm.
You're going for your first hike. A moose is just starting to shed, or
shed his antlers.
Well, no, he's not shedding yet. He's shedding the crap off him.
Oh, when they do the rubbing.
Yes.
And get the.
If you get gorged by one that still has all the fur on it,
mm-hmm.
on its antlers, there might not be any blood.
Hmm.
You have soft skin to actually cover that puncture wound. When he lifts his head, you're 8 feet in the air. And their necks are strong enough to actually carry a full-grown man.
Well, there's no signs there.
Same's true with an elk. Because they also do the rubbing.
Right.
So.
Well, even deer do rubbings, don't they?
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's a very unlikely possibility, but it is still a possibility. That one or two of our missing person cases is from that.
Mm-hmm.
Are because they were actually taken away to the point where there is no trace.
Yeah. Dogs ain't going to find them.
No.
Because dogs usually go by the scent on the ground.
And well, not just that, but
the
only scent they're going to find is a fucking moose, and they're going to stay the hell away from that.
Right.
Right. There are certain animals that won't leave a mess, too.
Cougars will. I'd say coyotes will.
A mountain lion won't.
No?
No, because a mountain lion will drag it far enough. This would have to not be a full-grown male. Mm-hmm. Small female, even a young teen, maybe. Okay, about that size. They could drag it away in their mouth.
But you're still going to find drag marks.
Maybe. Depends on how heavy the wind is. Depends on the area that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing. Everyone assumes, like, we live in sand.
Right.
Friend, I can drag you across the ground here, and not make drag marks. We just have to have dry enough weather. Right now, there would be no drag marks in dirt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just depends on the time of year and what's been going on with your local landscape. Friend, because a mountain lion will drag you away before it eats you. It's not going to eat you right there. And then by the time they actually search the area, everything else is coming picked you clean too.
I would think too, though, with dogs, with search canines, because the scent should be around longer because there is no moisture in the air. There's not rain to wash it away. For tracking, it should be longer. I believe the time was normally 2 weeks, if I remember right.
It depends on what else is in the area.
It does.
Because northern Alberta, they don't use dogs anymore for searching because there's no point.
Okay.
They can't smell shit. Because it's just muskeg up there.
Right.
Which is like swamp. How much can a dog actually smell in a swamp?
Not a lot.
Your nose is assaulted with so much other crap, you can't smell anything.
Yeah.
And so they can catch the scent, but then they lose it immediately because a small breeze runs through and all of a sudden, hey, fucking, where are those hot dogs coming from?
Shit.
Like, there's so many things with that stuff that poke so many holes in the fact that okay, I'm speaking directly now to Missing 411.
Okay.
He's got so many cases in so many areas, and the way he describes them, it's like everyone fell into a fucking portal. If there was that many portals in Yellowstone, they'd close it the fuck down.
Yep. Well, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it looks good for, like, making a movie. I mean, he has some valid points. There are some people that just, but they just wander off for whatever strange reason. They're perfectly fine when they're with somebody, and then they're just gone. And they take their shoes off, clothes, and they just
some of them take off because they didn't go to Red Rover Tax Service, and they're fucked now.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Nikki, need to be a little bit louder.
I can barely hear you, Nikki.
Alright, how's that? Is that better?
Perfect,
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, I had to unplug. So, here's the thing about portals. Here's what I know about portals. Portals don't necessarily, they can be there, they can be all over the frickin' globe. They can be opened up on the other side of the portal. So, yeah, there really could be that many portals. But it's who's opening it and why. That would be my question.
So here's the thing with portals. And this is all speculation. There's no solid proof about ley lines opening portals and all that shit. There really ain't. But what if ley lines crossed at a certain point? Nobody opened it. It was a natural portal.
Then you haven't done enough research. You never crossed the streams.
Oh.
Jesus.
Okay.
Come on, you're supposed to know this shit.
The stream?
Okay, there's a piece
That
of property. There's a piece of property that I know of that I was on where there are ley lines that have crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of fae, all different kinds of fae on that property, and the amount of paranormal that's on that property is incredible. and there's a very small section of it that actually has homes on it, and the rest of the property is all wildland, wetland. Some of it's wetland, some of it's got forest on it, some of it, it's...
Here's the question
wild.
for you. Did anyone disappear on that property?
No.
Then that kind of throws that one out.
But a lot of people have problems on that property.
That's different. They didn't disappear.
No, they haven't disappeared. However, I do know portals can be opened on that property from the other side.
Okay. But they don't.
I know
take
that
the people
for myself because of some stuff that I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But no, as far as I know, nobody's gone missing.
Right. And so, is it still possible for people to go missing walking through a portal? Absolutely. Anything's possible. Is it happening by high numbers? I don't think so. So
not by his numbers, because that's the thing.
No.
And part of his requirements for it to be a missing 411 case, it has to happen in a national park, rural area, or large reserve of public land.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only place that they're opening up portals.
Okay, so before we get to Paulo's question, it's up a little bit higher. I'm trying to catch up. Have you ever come across a case where there were supernatural connections to the disappearance?
That was specifically for Nikki, and she answered it in chat.
Okay.
Her next question is, do you personally feel with new technologies there will be less unsolved missing persons cases?
I'll get to that in a second. I'll get to that one in a second.
But what if I want to get to it now?
So, wait, missing 401. So some of the extreme signs and symptoms of being a missing 401, most of them were around shale. No, not shale. What was the stone?
Oh, but if it's around shale, that's bad.
It wasn't shale.
Is that the one where it's got the hexagon or the octagon shape pillars?
No. I'm trying. Oh, God damn it. I'm trying to remember what kind of rock that most of the cases.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a specific kind of rock. I just can't think of the name of the rock.
Obsidian?
No.
Right now, that's what they're being found at.
He's on the right track because I know what rock he's talking about. I just don't remember the name right now.
Yeah, it's not shale. It's something else. They have to be. They're usually near bushes with berries. They're usually near bodies of water.
Yep.
There were a couple cases. Well, I'd say about 30 to 40% of the cases they found.
Granite.
Yeah, it was granite. And in a lot of cases, the mountain had the name Devil in it.
Yep.
In a lot of the cases, they found the missing person's clothes stacked neatly in a pile, like they had actually stopped, taken their clothes off, and folded them neatly in a pile. In a few cases, they found the person's firearm. They had a gun, and the gun was disassembled and laid out neatly.
The clothes folded? That's tax evasion.
Is that also the case? Those are the cases where they've only found one shoe?
Well, that's the other thing about the shoes. So, shoes. In cases where they actually found the person, they didn't have any shoes on. Or, if they did go in, when they were searching, they did find the shoes just sitting there, laying side by side. There were a few cases where, and I remember one case was a 3-year-old that they literally found on the other side of a rocky peak, many miles away. Yeah, many miles away, and there's no way a 3-year-old could have, mountain climbed, or even gone up the trail to get that far in the short amount of time that he was missing. And usually, if they are found and they are alive, they have no recollection of anything that happened. A few of them drew a picture of a monster. A few of them described a monster. And so, they're very, and usually within a short period of time of the searchers getting there, a real heavy snowstorm or lightning storm, a real heavy storm comes up out of nowhere. So these are the descriptions of the missing 401 patterns. And yeah, these are people that just popped up missing out of nowhere. So what could those be? And I've actually asked David Paulides point blank through discussion what his opinion was, and he won't give an opinion. And okay, that's fine.
Or even privately.
Not even privately, because I mean we were chatting privately, and he wouldn't even know. I think if it's anything paranormal, it's not just one thing. It's probably a combination of a bunch of shit. Could it be Bigfoot? I don't think Bigfoot runs around taking people. Just my opinion.
I have a whole issue with David Paulides.
Uh-huh.
Number one, the guy's an ex-police officer.
Yep.
Friend, tell me a police officer that doesn't have a fucking opinion of his own.
Right. I would agree.
Number two, friend, the fact that he won't give an opinion just tells you the only thing he cares about is selling books. Because he loses his credibility.
Not necessarily. There are things that I refuse to talk about publicly because, or privately, things that I keep to myself, or there's maybe two people that know where I really stand on certain things. There are very valid reasons for that because it could cause a lot of problems.
This is his main thing. This is what
I know.
He only expresses other people's opinions, not his own, on the main thing he talks about.
And Nikki, do you have books you're selling?
No, but even if I did, I would still keep my mouth quiet.
Well, no, I get that.
You all know I can talk.
I get that, but when you look at the motivation of someone,
I know, get it.
That's a motivation right there. Of all he wants you to do is go buy his book.
Especially on someone who lived off a police officer's salary for so long.
Yeah.
Sorry, but truth is truth. They're just as poor as everyone else.
Yep.
You don't see a lot of beat cops running around in brand new Camaros.
I don't know what kind of car he drives. So yeah.
Right. What I'm saying is on the basis you don't see them running around because they don't have enough money to live off after they retire.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like any other civil servant.
Okay, Paula's most recent question. I want to, before I get into this, I have to throw a disclaimer out here. I am not in any way bashing on our search and rescue. I am not in any way bashing on anybody. These are just some things I've personally observed and some things that I think should be fixed and probably won't be. But the question is, do you personally feel with new technologies there will be less unsolved missing persons cases? No. Now, let's clarify. So unsolved missing persons, they find, I would agree, yes. The DNA factor, absolutely.
Right.
Cold cases
they have
what
to
you
find
described.
but they have to find a freaking piece of DNA in order to do it.
If they aren't in a database, they haven't given a DNA swab or they haven't had dental.
No, they have to find some at the freaking scene too.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's the thing. Half of it. Here's the number one issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
How many people on the show have a cell phone?
Everybody.
All of us, right? How many people have actually turned your safe search on, or your searching capabilities on so that if you go missing with your phone, a person you trust can find you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have that on?
Yeah.
Whose number's attached to it?
Huh?
Who's attached to it?
Me?
Then no, you don't.
Huh.
You have to put in someone else's phone number in order for them to be attached to it.
Oh, I got you. Then no.
No one turns that shit on. You have your GPS on, that's true.
Right.
But that doesn't allow them to immediately access your phone. You have to give them permission to access your phone from a remote location.
Okay. Well, that goes back to our original point of if you're going to go hiking, everybody should know where you're going, when you're suspected of being back, a brief timeline of when you're going to be back to your vehicle. And it's also advisable to leave a note on your windshield. If I'm not back on this date, call 911.
But like with them not having that one piece that we are all given for free,
Right.
enabled, why would any technology make there less cases? Nothing has changed in this world when it comes to the human nature.
Well, then there's also, Cole, I'm going to head in for a second. There is also devices where, for example, young women can wear a device on their wrist or on a necklace to where if they're out and about, and I'm thinking college women, and this has been widely talked about for quite some time, where college women can wear this device, and that device is set up to where it has emergency contact people, 911, a couple of other things on it. But all they have to do is hit that button if they're capable. And that's the thing. Because if you're not capable, it ain't happening. Like if you get nailed with a stun gun or if you get, something put around your mouth, then you can't have the ability to fight.
Yeah. So
there are devices now that can do that, where they can wear, and it can look like a pendant, it can look like part of a watch, there's all different ways to make it look like something else.
Yeah.
But it's a device, it's a small enough device that all they have to do is push, it's like an emergency alert. It's silent, it goes directly, and it has the locator as to where that person's body is at that given moment in time. And it goes straight to 911, and it goes straight to whoever they chose as a contact person.
Right.
But you know what the problem with that is? We got companies that we all know and actually still trust for some fucked up reason that are making other devices that are totally against that. Like the Apple AirTag. Yeah, the Apple AirTag.
Yep.
Do you know how much those cost? They're $6 in the store for one.
Right.
That means for under $100 you can track like 20 women. You know how stupid that is? Like, Jesus Christ. I have already helped 2 people find them off their cars. The tag didn't belong to them.
Well, that's your trafficking. That's your stalking. That's a whole other issue.
That's your serial killers too.
Huh?
That's your serial killers too.
Yep.
Every time we come up with a new device that's going to supposedly help people, Craigslist. Greatest thing they ever invented when it came out.
Craigslist killer.
Exactly.
Yep.
Friend, it will not be long before we actually have a killer called the AirPod killer.
Yeah.
And it'll be a guy who uses them to actually track his victims to the point where he can get them when there is no one else around.
I bet your Criminal Minds already has an episode on it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm still trying to catch up. I've got 10 seasons I have to go through.
I think it was only 3 months after the pig farmer.
Yeah.
That they actually brought out the episode.
Oh yeah.
Like that's insane.
Them in Law and Order, they turn that straight from the headlines stuff, or ripped straight from the headlines. They turn that around. Law and Order, it advertised it as ripped straight from the headlines. They didn't even bother with it to hide it. Right. They were like, "Yeah, we're doing this." So, yeah.
Okay,
go ahead.
So, search and rescue. There's a few points I want to bring up, and again, speaking about our local search and rescue, the whole program is getting reformatted and changed for the better. But one, you have a victim's car, they don't treat it, and I know this for a few cases. You don't.
You're a bad serial killer. You only got the car and not the victim. You're bad at your job.
No, but they don't treat. They should treat the car like a crime scene until it's proven otherwise. They don't. I know one case where the car sat there for a week while they're looking for the person, and had fingerprints all over it because everybody was touching it, and the family actually had to pay and go tow the car back home.
Was that Sam?
Huh?
Was that Sam?
Yep. You can find out a lot about the person just by looking at their car. Now, search and rescue is trained in crime scene protection. Oh, that's should be a given, and they are. And I've been on evidence searches where we had to go to a pond, and we actually had to look for, because it was a robbery or a burglary, and he threw his weapon and his loot into a pond. And I found a bag of diamonds, and I don't know if we found the weapon or not, but there was a bag of diamonds actually hanging from a tree, and I didn't touch it. I didn't know what was in it. It was a little baggie. And so I told the deputy, hey, there's a bag hanging from a tree, and he opened it up, and there was diamonds there. That was kind of cool. I didn't get none of them, though, but yeah. But anyway, so yeah, first of all, treat the vehicle or the last known point as a crime scene until you know for a fact it's just a person that went hiking. Because you don't know, they could have been taken from the car. And depending on if it's a silver alert versus an amber alert, silver alert being an elderly person with dementia, which we've had 3 of them missing up here. Huh?
Just an elderly. Doesn't have to have dementia.
What?
Just an elderly. Doesn't have to have dementia to be
No,
silver.
true. But 2 of the cases, they had dementia. One they found dead and deceased in the ditch, not far from his vehicle. The other one they still haven't found.
Oh, they won't.
I don't know. I don't think so either.
He went out to sea.
Huh?
I think he went out to sea.
Could have been.
If it's a person with dementia, they add you say silver alert, and then there's an attachment to it, and I can't remember what the title is right off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. And I know that because of my mom, because I had to talk to the sheriff's department when my mom was living with us, mm-hmm. because she would try to take off because of her dementia and Alzheimer's. She literally tried to leave in the middle of the night at all weird hours, thinking all sorts of stuff. And so, yeah, they classify it as a silver alert if the person is over a certain age.
Right.
And then they add with dementia, with Alzheimer's, with whatever.
Mental status.
Yeah, there's a specific title with it. I can't remember what it is. Mm-hmm. It's not disabled. It's... Anyway.
No, it's mental faculties is what it boils down to. You're right. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but were they mentally sound?
Okay, Nikki, I gotta ask, what are you doing?
I had my protein bar, but it wasn't enough protein, so I've been making a shake.
Okay, just so you know, that's the first time I saw the bottle, and that motion you've been making.
God, Cole.
This is not that kind of podcast.
Oh, God.
I've been in my kitchen making a shake.
I know it's called the bunker, but it's not that kind of bunker.
Not that kind of bunker.
Okay, the second point. The second point is training. I think with search and rescue, they need better training. What?
Okay.
What?
I'm going to hit on something here.
Okay.
Because half of the search and rescue cases, they're never going to win.
Explain.
Explain.
Our criminals nowadays The people who actually are taking people, not just the one, like not the ones that just disappeared and by some circumstance, but the ones that were actually taken and killed or done something,
right.
They have had the best training over the last 10, 15 years that anyone
absolutely.
ever has.
Absolutely.
You know why? We have movies on some of the best serial killers that describe exactly how they did it.
We glamorize them.
Absolutely. Now we have Criminal Minds. Now we have Law and Order. Now we have... There are over 30 shows dedicated to how to get away. There's one called How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah. Well, like Dahmer had a whole fucking series.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, I get it.
Putting that stuff in, treating a car as a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you're probably not going to get anything because most of them treat it like a crime scene when they're killing the person. They treat it like, okay, I can't get anything in here.
Right.
And if they do, they burn the fucking car.
Right.
Oh, you see some of that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, I get it.
Like,
but those criminals ultimately are stupid, so they always leave something behind.
Not all of them are as good as...
that's not true.
Not all of them are Dexter-level serial killer types.
Right.
Actually, most of them are. Because most of them you will never suspect. Most of them you will never know. They will die before we ever catch them.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And you're right.
There's been victims that have come to me, and they're like, this guy's been going for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And I understand. I'm saying all this.
And I only knew it because of one victim who came to me in, what was it, 2018, 2019, and she found out that what I could see and actually talk to her, whereas other psychics were getting some of the visions and stuff from it, but they weren't. And she started finding others on the other side who were victims of the same individual. And holy crap, scary stuff. I mean, this guy, and he changes up his MO almost every time.
Right.
I'm like, that is, I mean, in my book, to me, that's rare. And when I talk to somebody in government, I wasn't just laughed at. I mean, they had the credentials and the backing, and I mean, all the way up the frickin' line in government. And his attitude was get a license plate, get the victim to give you a license plate number, get the victim to give you cross streets and everything regarding. And that taught me in how to talk to these spirits regarding what they remember and what they know, because hello, they're on the other side.
Right.
So yeah, it gets really wicked on some of this stuff.
So I do want to say you're right, Cole. If it's a serial killer or a smart criminal, it is going to be put a different element to finding the missing person. But we have to look at it from the concept too that the criminal side is ideally going to be a lower ratio or a lower statistic. And ideally, yes, they are just a missing hiker or a whatever. You got to look at it that. We're not cops. There's one deputy in charge of the entire search. It's their job.
That's probably the first problem.
Figure it out. Well, it depends. If there's already a suspected foul play, then you're going to have detectives and whatnot on site. And also, depending on where it is, you might, if it's a national park, you're going to have a whole different element of law enforcement. National parks have their own division of investigation. That's, unless they call you in, no one's going to be involved in that search anyway.
But that's the problem.
Jurisdiction gets in the way.
Yeah, everything is so broken up.
Right.
And honestly, the way jurisdiction is made is wrong.
Well, you know, I had to write a paper on this when I was getting my degree, in that they don't share intel, the federal side does not share intel with the state side. State side is usually a little bit better, but not always, about sharing their intel with the local cops. Or and then you got state patrol involved, and that's a whole other category of law enforcement. But they made fusion centers to supposedly fix all these problems, but the fusion centers there's no oversight. It's hell, half your cops don't even know a fusion center exists. We've got a fusion center in Seattle. Does anybody...
most of the jurisdiction should not be decided by either who got there first or whose area it's in. It should be decided by who is willing to use the most resources.
Yep, no, absolutely.
Not just who has the most, because if you did that, it'd be federal government every time and nothing would ever get done.
Right.
But who's willing to use more resources in order to get the job done? That should be who has jurisdiction in those cases.
Now the other point, and so back in the 80s when I was first in Ground SAR, if we got called to a search, we were trained to stay overnight. We packed to stay overnight. We were trained to do night searches if we had to. Now, from the last few searches I've seen them do, it's a 9-to-5 job.
Well, yeah, they miss their mommies.
Oh my God. It's getting dark. Okay, let's wrap up the search. We'll come back in the morning. Really? What the hell? You had a few people that got hurt. I get that. So now we're going to do a risk assessment, which that's always a good thing anyway. But why isn't anyone staying overnight at the last point seen? The other problem is bureaucracy. Because, for example, you can't fly a drone over a national park. Not even law enforcement.
That's not true.
Yeah, it was true in the Sam case. It was true in the Artist Point case.
Well, no, you can. You just might not get it back. Make sure it has Wi-Fi.
But, no, there shouldn't be that bureaucratic tape. You shouldn't have to request permission from national parks and then get denied because, oh my God, it might affect the environment. A drone's not going to affect the environment. No, if you got a missing person, that's public safety. That should override your bureaucratic bullshit.
It's not bureaucratic.
What is it?
How many of our national parks, Eric, do you actually believe are just national parks?
Oh, okay, if a person's missing.
How many of them do you believe are just national parks, and how many do you believe actually hold secrets of our nation?
Oh, some of them probably do.
I'm pretty damn sure every single one of them does, because what other places can you not fly a drone other than an airport? Come on. If you can't look with a drone in a national park, what reason would there be other than you will see something you are not supposed to see?
I'm talking law enforcement flying a drone, not just Joe Schmo.
Yeah, but they're clear. They don't have the clearance.
It shouldn't matter.
Oh yeah, it would.
Well,
it depends on what they're hiding.
There you go. You wanted a problem with search and rescue? There you go.
Friend, that's not a problem with search and rescue. That's a problem with your nation. The entire nation needs to actually stop that whole we can hide anything we want.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's the reason that we have a government agency who we have known about all this time.
The Men in Black.
Yeah, but never thought to think, well, where's their funding coming from?
Mm-hmm. We the people.
Because now when we actually are going to look at it with Congress, we're going to find out that money is coming straight out of Social Security, out of people's friggin'
paychecks.
Everything. It's coming out of everything that actually would help people come out of the poverty line.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Friend.
But there you go. The nation's broke. The nation's always been broke, and the nation needs to be fixed. Is there anything good about the nation? Not really.
What?
I'll say that.
That's not true. That eagle's pretty
Still
cool.
better than
China. Do what?
Still better than China and Canada on most days.
No, I want
Actually,
it's not better than China.
I'm not even going to argue with the Canada part because I know that's not true. But the China part, on the actual scales, the U.S. is not better than China right now in almost anything.
Look at the education level. We're what, number 20-something?
47.
47. There you go. Uh-huh.
Friend, China does beat the United States on almost every level of all of the world politics and world needs.
Mm-hmm.
Friend, which kind of sucks, but what do you do?
What do you do? Yeah. So yeah, a base camp needs to be established 24/7 until they've exhausted all resources.
I wonder if China beats America on UFO sightings.
We'll never know.
Well, we wouldn't, but like just thinking,
Right.
surface area of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many more they actually have because they're a bigger surface area than us.
I'd have to look because I know there's stats out there. Regardless, I know there's stats out
Like
there.
I know there's a lot from the Great Wall,
Right.
and where tourists were on it just as it started hitting dusk, and they did see something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the ones that you see in Hong Kong and places like that. Hong Kong is the easiest because until recently it was under British rule, so therefore it didn't have to follow all the rules of China.
Right.
That's kind of an interesting idea, though.
So getting to tech, will tech help finding missing people? Absolutely, if they used it. If you can have if you can have a satellite that can actually see what brand of cigarette you're smoking, don't you think you can have a satellite that would be able to zoom in on a missing person area and actually see them?
No.
I do. So if you have a real thick tree canopy, you're probably not going to see through the canopy. But
All you're going to see is a mountain lion, and it's going to look like it's wearing pants. With really long legs.
And walking on two legs.
Yeah, with really long legs, but...
But yes, there's a lot of room for improvement with search and rescue, and I have nothing but high hopes for our own county search and rescue. And getting to jurisdiction, when we locally have a person missing up here, and it's in Whatcom County, we can't go, Skagit County can't go search for them because it's in Whatcom County. So instead of a team that can be there in 15, 20 minutes, especially a team that's up here, upriver, where most of your searches are, you have to wait for, about 3 hours. Because it's going to take Whatcom County about an hour to get everybody together, and 45 minutes to come down I-5 and all the way around to Skagit County, and then figure out where to go and how to set up the search. So you see where jurisdiction is a fucking problem. Absolutely.
It'd be a lot quicker if they just went the other way.
What, through the mountain?
If you go up Mount Baker Highway...
Oh, yeah.
And you'd hit 90 as you're reaching the top, you're coming down the other side pretty fast, so...
Yeah, or jumping.
Yeah, like...
Or jumping.
Friend. So, Paula's last question.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Paula's final question. With his smiley face.
Didn't we already hit that one?
Nope. For the panel, do you personally have a missing persons case in your personal life, or have a worked a case in search and rescue, or as a psychic?
I don't really want to hit that one.
I do. Because I don't have one.
Okay.
Brad, I know exactly where I hit each one of them.
Okay. So personally, there have been a couple cases where we used astral to attempt to identify location. Not even that one. I'm not touching that one. But
you had me work on it. That part we can talk about.
Yeah, but she wasn't found.
No, but we were able to identify a second voice on the 911 call.
Well, that, and the fact that our astral member that located the location, the body was moved. We've kind of reduced that fact.
But the thing is with that's also a possibility of being a wild animal, because that's an after the fact.
No, astral. He actually was locked onto her energy signature. No, it wasn't like it was a drone with.
No, but what I mean is, if he was locked onto her energy signal, friend, the moment a wild animal got to him, most of our wild animals in this area hunt in packs.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, it's spread out everywhere because they all took a part of her.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like, it is a possibility that
he didn't contact the spirit. He contacted the body signature.
Yeah. So it is a possibility that after the fact of whatever happened to her, even though we both know what happened to her, friend,
pretty much,
she was dragged off by a set of wild animals.
So we were invested in that case for about 6 months, and started getting death threats and stalking from an individual that was also invested in that search, but was also making money from the family being invested in that search. So we did back off just to calm shit down.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was after all that you had me do that shit, so
I know.
We backed off quietly, but we didn't back
And
off.
again, that individual was never found.
The missing person, not the person who did the threats.
Oh, yeah. No.
I can see that happening too. Knowing the
Another case that we were involved in, there were 2 individuals missing Mount Baker area, and again we locked onto location and let the family know the approximate location, and they did find the bodies in that location. So, future speaking, can psychics and astral be utilized in missing person cases? Absolutely. But any psychic will tell you they're probably only accurate, what would you say, Nikki, 80% of the time?
Yeah, that's about right.
And astrally, you can still be way off. So it's not an exact science.
However, I'm going to make a clarification with that, Eric, because higher consciousness, astral is one thing, but in higher consciousness, you literally, you don't just lock on, you have it. Unfortunately, I'm one of those to where it has to be almost an emergency sake for me to, an emergency situation for me to hit the, I get pulled. My higher consciousness literally yanks away from my body, but is still somehow attached to my body, and I will be in the exact location. I mean, like it's like being boots on the ground, but like my head on a swivel type of thing. Right. That's how it is for me. But I'm in the exact. I'll be in the exact location. But I've never used that regarding a case regarding a missing person or a cold case. Right. I've done it regarding other situations in those cases, but not in the kind of cases that we're talking about right now. But yeah, astral, that actually makes sense to me. But in higher consciousness, there is a clarification with it, for me, anyway. I don't know about other psychics.
Right.
And I do want, as a psychic, oh wait, are you done, Eric? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so as a psychic medium, I have 4 cases that in my mind are still open. They all revolve around serial killers. And it's because of the different spirit victims that have come to me because solely because of the 2019 case, because I don't remember which year it was. It's one of the two, but it happened in June, July, somewhere around there. And because of that one victim, she put the word out onto the other side, go talk to Nikki, because, and I got deluged. Oh, God. So, it's, then other victims of other serial killers have come to me. And some of the victims, they're 30 years old. I mean, and I'm like, okay, how am I? So there's aspects of that. But for me, there's 4 cases that I have continuously worked on since 2018. One after another. They're all separate situations. Will they get resolved? I don't honestly know, because I need an authority figure to say, hey, let's take a look at what you've got. Mm-hmm. And those authority figures, they don't want to deal with a psychic. They don't want to deal with a medium, to be quite blunt. And no. I've got I know a living right now, retired Seattle police detective who has openly stated they'll literally, if you put it in an envelope, in a manila envelope, and walk it to them, hand it to them, tell them who you are, identify yourself, they'll look at it, they'll talk to you, they'll make an assessment of you, of the situation, and if it follows any remote information in there that even hits on some of it, they will look at it. But if it goes in a different area, the second you're gone, it'll go in the garbage. And I have been told that by another retired Seattle police detective who is now deceased. She ended up really liked her, but she ended up dying of cancer. So, and I've been consistently told I've had the same situation. I've talked to police, and they're like, yeah, that's pretty much what we do. So, and there are folks in the CIA and FBI who do work with psychics. They don't make it public. There are very few of them who actually do work with psychics and psychic mediums. Right. But they don't make it public. It is the psychic medium that typically makes it public.
Yeah.
So there's one based in Canada, eastern side of Canada, who actually works with the Canadian government and different factions of the U.S. government regarding certain cases. And he's written a book, and he's still working on his own stuff and helping them locate different people.
Must hate Native people.
So that's the problem. One, they won't listen to psychics or astral because half the time, again, a lot of psychics and astral aren't accurate, so it wastes time. It can't. The other aspect of that is if you are dead on, you become a suspect.
Yep.
If you give them too much information that solves their case, the skeptic of them is going to go, well, how the hell do they know? And you become on their watch list.
Yep.
And most of your psychics and astral don't want to deal with that issue. So, again, go ahead.
The other sorry, Eric. The other side is that provability. There's a case that I had to walk away from because I know from the daughter who died that her mother had a hit out on her. Okay. They were in the paranormal themselves, the problem is you can't prove it because the daughter is still missing. She's now a cold case.
Right.
And the daughter has specifically stated this was sent to my mom from the person who did it, but it's not provable because of this, and this. And I'm like, then I can't help you.
Right.
And I was stunned by what she told me. I mean, truly stunned. There is literally no evidence. Her body is gone. It's in a river and it's been rolled and broken up and blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's no evidence. How do you go after the two individuals that did it? Seriously. I mean, and I'm like, that's what's needed. You need the evidence to create and build the case. That's a huge fact.
Well, and not just that. So for a minute, I did have the team on missing persons cases, and I finally had to wrap it up because, well, one, I was frustrated as shit because you're sitting in Washington State, you've got a missing person in Ohio, you've got a beat on their possible location from your team. You've got no boots on ground to go to that location to actually verify whether there's a body there.
Bingo.
You can't call the cops because they're not going to listen to you anyway. You don't want to. I'm personally against contacting a family because, one, you're going to get their hopes up, and no, that just makes it even worse.
Yep.
So, when you're trying to run for lack of a better term, a paranormal team that's looking for missing people, you're not going to be taken credibly. And even if you find them,
exactly,
you don't have a boots on ground. You don't have a budget to go traipsing off to Ohio to look for a missing body. So no, it's really a dead end, and we had a lot of dead ends. So I wrapped it up, and then we had the trafficking case that we actually tracked a trafficked victim to Turkey. Had a boots on ground team in Turkey who was identified by the traffickers and whisked the victim off to France. I mean, what do you do? There was literally nothing, and that made the victim in an even worse predicament because we couldn't rescue him.
Makes it tough.
So yeah, it is. So search and rescue, yep. That's why I one of the many reasons I wrapped up being in the paranormal field. Other than, okay, I'll go up in the woods and look for Bigfoot once in a while, and I'll watch a UFO, but that's as far as I go.
And it's understandable. I mean, there are, and people in the public do not. Hang on a second. I didn't realize I was. People in the public do not realize, and they get angry with psychics. They get angry with medium. Why aren't you doing this and why aren't you doing that? There are very valid reasons, and it's like it goes right over their head, and it's very frustrating.
So Paulo's question: are people or law enforcement still looking for the girl missing from here last year? Are you talking about Kayla? That was
Laney.
this year, huh?
Laney.
I haven't heard anything about Laney.
No.
The case with Kayla, which happened this year, is still a very open investigation with detectives, and I'm not privy to that information because I'm not a detective or law enforcement, but I do know they are actively still looking. But they are, I can tell you, at a loss. They have no idea. So again,
They haven't found the blue bin?
Nope.
Wow.
Well, again, that's a case where who do I tell? And
Yeah. No, I get it.
And you know the fact that so actually we had that discussion after the show, so none of the listeners even know about that. But yeah, again, the potential suspect, if they did have a bonfire and burn evidence, you're not going to have anyone go look at that. You're not going to have any evidence. So again, there is a suspected human trafficking ring in this community, as well as 40 sex offenders from Cedar Woolley all the way to New Haven. And that doesn't even count Darrington because that's Snohomish County. But the minute you count 1,500 transient, not registering sex offenders in Snohomish County, any one of them could be over here. Because of the fact that they're transient and they're not very far from travel to come into our community. So, you know, a lot of information I study and research I don't talk about, because if in some cases people knew half the shit that I research and study and knew about the community, they'd be terrified and they'd be moved.
Yep.
And I don't want to be a fearmonger.
Same way with cities.
I'm not here to be a fearmonger. I'm here to educate.
Exactly.
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
But too many people don't see you educating, they see you as fear-mongering, and that's not the point. The point is, yes, there are 2 volcanoes, there is an earthquake waiting to happen, there are 5 dams, there have been terrorists in the community, and the list goes on. I mean, I've got an 8-page threat assessment of this community. And that's why we have a disaster fair, to prepare you for the natural disasters. The human disasters and the human elements within the community, the bomb makers, the offenders, serial killers, terrorists,
crazies,
extremists. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day, but not on this show.
Yeah. They're the crazies. I call them the crazies.
And understand, I have a direct contact with law enforcement. I do feed them intel. I do consult with them on topics they're not familiar with, because what I learned with having a bachelor's degree in Homeland Security and my military career, they ask me questions all the time.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say about that. So we are down to 7 minutes of the show. So in summarizing, I'm going to go on a limb and say 20% out of the millions that go missing every year are probably paranormal related. I would say 80% are human caused or ignorance of
mundane
where they're
caused.
going. Huh?
Mundane caused.
Yeah. There you go. 80%,
That's a great way to put it.
80% are probably mundane, 20% I would say is paranormal related. And what is the paranormal related? Your guess is as good as mine. I think it's a combination. I mean, we didn't even talk about the fairy element or the fae element.
It's the rakes.
And that's a whole nother process
That's
all
altogether.
the rakes.
Huh?
It's all rakes.
It's all right.
Rakes.
Oh, rakes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Slender Man. Rakes.
Slender Man gets other people to do it for him.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Shapeshifters. I mean, it depends on what state you're in. It could be a Wendigo. Wendigo.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Blame the natives. I see how.
Okay, Paula. So Paula says she read all the documents and prepared his emails, and she still has them all. Make sure Rick takes you to the Disaster Preparedness Fair September 9th at the Concrete Community Center, because USGS is going to be there to actually give a presentation on the volcanoes and the earthquakes.
And when is that?
September 9th.
Yep.
September
Oh my God!
9th.
Are you going to come up here?
I'd be thinking about it. Yeah, if I can figure out a way to do it. But September 9th.
Yeah, September 9th at the Concrete Community Center. I've got USGS coming. Our county emergency management will be there. Our county health department will be there. And a whole lot of other agencies will be there. And there'll be a lot of stuff for the kids. We might have a petting zoo that'll show up. We have to talk to them yet. And a food vendor, so nobody has to go anywhere if they don't want to. They can eat right there.
Cool.
So, yep, it's going to be fun. It goes from noon to 7 p.m. Yes, it's 7 hours, but I wanted to make it long enough to where if folks are working, they could come up after work, grab a bite to eat at the food vendor, and enjoy the festivities.
Who's a food vendor?
I don't know the name of their company, but Riversdale.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the emergency. Say it again.
Huh?
Say the title again of the event.
It's the East Skagit County Disaster Fair. So if you're in Washington State, we are in the Cascade Mountains in East Skagit County. And it will be held at the Concrete Community Center. Concrete, Washington. And we try to do, well, we've done this every year. It's an annual event that we hold, minus COVID. We actually did a drive-through event towards the end of COVID with the health department's blessing. And that was under the guise of National Night Out / Disaster Fair. And the Sauk Reservation?
Sauk Seattle.
Sauk Seattle Reservation law enforcement actually showed up. And that was cool. So we got
Yeah, if I can figure out a way to do it, I'll do it.
Perfect. So what are we talking about next week?
Well,
I just put Cole on the spot. You got any ideas? Do you guys have any ideas?
You got quiet.
Pop culture references.
Everybody
Huh?
suddenly went,
Paranormal pop culture references.
Okay.
Let's do a fun one.
Paranormal pop culture. There we go.
cool.
So we're going to count movies in that too? Part of pop culture. Exorcist.
Well, I would think
The Exorcist was a part of steering pop culture into demonology. Think about it.
Pop
Yeah.
culture, Eric. So,
Oh, okay, yeah.
movies, music,
I'm tired.
for video games, everything. Anything you
Perfect.
want.
Perfect.
Even Mario.
everybody
Paranormal about Mario.
do a Men in
Have
Black
you never seen a
marathon.
Boo?
Huh?
Have you never seen a Boo?
A boo.
Okay, do you remember the first Mario?
I remember the movie The Boo.
No, do you remember the first Mario?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so.
and you'd go into one of the castles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So one of Bowser's castles,
Mm-hmm.
and there would be ghosts.
Oh, those are
That
boos.
had-
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
they're called boos.
Yeah, I got you. There's the haunted castle with all the ghosts that you got that try to kill you.
And actually, that one's relevant
Yeah.
again because of the new movie.
Okay.
Because they actually framed a reference to the skeletons.
Huh.
They actually showed us how they come back to life every time they get stomped on.
Well,
It's actually more terrifying than I thought.
Those the dumb Hitman games that I play, the new ones have a cutscene where if one of the exits is if you do a certain amount of kills or a certain way you do the kills, you can be abducted by aliens, or you find a sword and do a certain amount of things. You go into the bottom of an old the burial tomb underneath the church in Italy, all these skeleton hands come rising up out of the ground. So, I mean, a game like that that's fairly serious. Even
that
they
was
have.
that was poltergeist.
Plus, come on. I can make anything paranormal.
That's true.
Even Call of Duty is paranormal. Did you know that?
I can't.
They have the zombie version.
Number 1, they have zombie version. Number 2, they have a game called Ghost. Number 3, I send everyone to the paranormal side.
That's true. That's true. Yep. And they come back and haunt you in zombies.
Well, yeah, but
yeah. Anyway, it's time to wrap it up. Thank you for listening tonight, guys. It was a different kind of show. We talked about all the mundane and the creepy side of not even Rick's hair is oh my god.
Yeah.
Is your hair paranormal, Rick?
It looks a lot like the Giorgio Sakalaka, whatever his name is, from Ancient Aliens right now.
Giorgio Sucralose. Yeah.
Giorgio Sakalaka dick.
Yeah, Sakalaka. Yeah, that's what it was. Psychological dick.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. Brian, here on the bunker. Good night, all.
Good night. Have a safe week.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.